In this demonstration, we're going to talk about the roles and permissions in the control panel under the administration heading. Every user in the employee section gets assigned a specific role that allows them to view, edit, delete items within the site. It is sectioned out when you come into the site under 3 current roles, the admin being the highest level of access, then a manager view, which mostly has view permissions, not a lot of edit capabilities. And then the employee really is locked down to just viewing their items, submitting forms, and completing their training. They really don't have a lot of view access to view other items within the site. This grid shows all the users that are assigned to certain roles, and it gives them their access on what they could do in the employee section, what they can do in the training section, and what they could do in forms and so forth. When I pop to the top, you'll actually see the number of users that are assigned to each of these role types. If I click on the number of people here, it will bring me into that employee section, automatically filter the role right here as that manager role, and then show me the results accordingly. As an admin, you do have access to change those levels of roles, so you can pop into someone's profile here, click edit on their profile, and update their role based off of their role permissions here. Once you change the role and hit save changes, the access point is immediate for that user. They just need to refresh their page and they should be able to have that admin access accordingly. If you're looking at the roles and permissions grid here, you will see other options to either export this list if you want to see the current permission list in Excel, or you can add additional roles as you see fit as well. So even if you wanted to create like a contractor role or somebody who you only wanted to give one access point to, you could create that as a starting point with no permissions and have a role and just toggle on the items you want them to have access to. You will also see that you have other starting points such as your admin, manager, and employee levels, or the system default if you changed any of your current employee, manager, or admin roles. You can use the system default ones as well and toggle their access accordingly. We have no limit on how many roles you can create. We do caution it because it does create a lot of toggling on for access points, but this does create that grouping for your users to be assigned to their role type, and then based off of that, they get certain permissions based off of the employee section. If you scroll further down, you're going to see a heading for your training section on what they can view, edit, delete within the training section, and then as well as the forms and so forth. So if you are looking for certain access points, I do recommend just kind of searching through here and looking for the area you're trying to toggle on access, and then looking at the permissions accordingly here. A good helpful tip will be using the info bubbles as well. So if you're ever wondering what exactly the permission is giving access to, you can hover over these info bubbles and they will explain a little bit more. A typical one for forms is going to be able to give employees or limit your managers down on what form responses they can view. So it kind of comes in 3 sets, whether you can submit the form, view that form response after you submit it, edit that form response, delete that form response, and then it goes into form creation at that point. If you wanted to limit that or give them access, you can toggle this on, and you can give access to all your forms by clicking allow, or you can limit that down per form. And this will give even more limited options where you can limit it down by certain options as well. So for example, if I didn't want them to allow access to every single form that was submitted in the company for a 360 walk around, I could limit that down by certain conditions. I can either limit it down to my supervisor viewing the data that I submit. I can also only toggle it to where I'm saying Only if I submit this form am I going to be able to view it, which is what we call the matches self option here. Or you could even say, only if they're in my same location do I want them to view it. So you can add a condition based off of their location that matches themselves as well, so that they can view only the data in their same location. And then of course, this gives them the access to view their own responses as well. So lots of toggles to play around with in here to set this up. There's also and or options on these as well that I like to point out. If you have the and option, that means both items need to be true. So for example, if you said if they're in this location and they're in this certain job title, then they're going to be able to see this 360 walk around. That means in this case, it only matches one person from 5 when it was previously open. Or you can do the or options where either or can be true, and you can say if it's either their same location or if their same line of business matches myself, then they're going to be able to see the same 360 walk around inspections. So again, lots of toggles to kind of limit out your data as you see fit in the roles and permissions. Of course, once you toggle those on, you'll just save your changes, and then now it gives them that immediate view of that limited access to those certain forms we toggled on. And now I'm logged in as Sam Chavez here. He is in a manager role, which as you can see on my profile, some of the data points are limited up. I can't see my role currently because I am in that manager role. There's not the full access of the profile here. However, if I'm looking at one of my employees here, we'll look at James Roberts. And I try to click to view his open task as Sam Chavez here under the manager view. I'm actually going to see this access denied message here. This is what you will see, or a user may see, if they do not have access in the roles and permissions. So anytime you see the access denied message and then a user is coming to you as an admin saying, hey, I'm receiving access denied, you will just need to go into your control panel under your roles and permissions and be able to toggle that access back on. Of course, I'm logged in as Sam Chavez right now, so if I actually just back up and log back in as myself here, I'll be able to see those roles and permissions. And if I needed to toggle on that access, that's actually the open task report. So if I search on my browser for task here, you can see my manager role here doesn't have that ability to run that open task report. So that's why he received the access denied message. However, if I allow this right here, I could actually toggle back into Sam's profile here on the side. Go back home, I'm logged back into Sam Chavez's profile. And if I try that again, the access should be immediate to where, since I gave him access to view that open task report, once I click view, now Sam Chavez is no longer denied. Of course, if you have any questions regarding the roles and permissions, feel free to reach out to our support team at support@kpaehs.com.